What's going on, everybody? I am back here with Bryson Gamble, a New York City hip-hop artist and rapper. Welcome back to another episode of Miltrick Media. Bryson, how's it going? How you feeling?
I'm good, Miltrick. Thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure. This is like my first real interview.
Yeah, we were talking about this is your very, very first interview. I'm happy to have you on for this to be your first interview. That's exciting.
Yo, man, I just wouldn't want it any other way.
Hell yeah, dude. So Bryson Gamble. So where did that name come from?
So Bryson Gamble comes from, my name is Brian, right?
Yeah.
But Brian's kind of a boring name. I don't know. Brian is just Brian.
Bro, you just shit on every single Brian in the entire world. No, I'm playing.
I feel like every Brian would agree. So yeah, Brian is just kind of a boring name. So I don't know, the name Bryson came to my head and I was like, wow, this is like Brian, but with some zing to it, some spice. So I was like, hey, let's put Bryson. And Gamble comes from, so there was a woman, her name was Mildred. She saved my life growing up. And she unfortunately passed away in 2018. And to honor her life, I added Gamble because her favorite song by Kenny Rogers was The Gambler.
Oh, wow.
So that's where Gamble comes from. A lot of people asked where Gamble comes from, and that's where it comes from. And I just thought Bryson Gamble, it just flowed. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a name from your past, and that sounded like it was very impactful to your upbringing. So that woman you mentioned, was she a family member or just a close family friend, someone you grew up with?
Close family friend. She was someone I considered like a mother. She did a lot for me growing up. It goes really deep. And the way to honor her life, I had to put that in the music. I had to associate her. I had to put that together. And, for a very long time, I was going by a different stage name. And, the stage name was cool, but it just, as I was getting older, it just wasn't, it just didn't feel like it represented me the best anymore.
I understand. You want a little bit of a change. You want a new beginning. You mentioned how this lady, she saved your life when you were younger. How'd she save your life?
So growing up, around, I would say 2007, my mom, she lost her job, and, she was going through her own things. She was out of my life for a little bit, and we really didn't know where life was going. So this woman, she took me and my brother in, and she took care of us for a very long time. And, she showed me a different way of life and stuff like that. And she just showed me that there are good people in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah. She really had my mom's back when my mom was dealing with her own things.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. And yeah, that's how she saved my life. She took me in when things were looking really bad. And she also just showed me there are good people in this world, because there are a lot of bad people in this world. During that time, I was going through a lot of things that would make me think, wow, this life sucks. But she was the light that showed me, okay, no, life isn't too bad. And I still go with that to this day. Even if something sucky happens, or I meet a crappy person, or someone tries to do me wrong, I still remember, okay, but Mildred saved my life. And she went out of her way to save my life, take care of me, and she didn't have to do that.
Yeah, that's great. That's powerful.
Yeah.
So you mentioned how earlier on in your career you had a different stage name, and what inspired the new stage name and the new direction?
Well, back in high school, girls told me I'd look good with earrings. And with my former name, I didn't think I could have earrings.
So the move to get the ears pierced, was that really the catalyst that started this new ascension?
Absolutely.
Of the new stage name and everything?
Absolutely.
It was really just the earrings? So what
Yeah.
else? So besides that, why'd you think that you couldn't rock the earrings in the previous life?
The name I was going by, I don't know. I made the name when I was 15 years old. I was so influenced by Eminem at the time. It was this very hard, aggressive rap. I was this hard, aggressive rapper. Yeah. And I was just man, the earrings aren't a good look if I'm screaming on the mic the entire time. And girls told me in high school, hey, you should get earrings. And I was like, nah. Now we got the earrings.
So now you gotta hit him up, be like, listen, I got the ears pierced. I was inspired by the advice. Listen, now we got a new song coming out. You gotta check it out. Repost, all that good stuff. So besides the earrings, so you talked about what inspired the name itself, the first and last name, Bryson Gamble. And now you have a brand new song out, Without Me, featuring fellow New York City artist who's from Queens, Prince Smith. So When did you first start writing Without Me?
So I actually started. So Without Me is it's very interesting how that song came together. So I found a beat back in November of last year, and it was a really good beat. So I wrote my verses to that beat, but then I found that like the beat wasn't available anymore.
Oh,
it was
okay.
sold.
Was this on
sold.
YouTube or BeatStars?
It was just like, I think it was BeatStars or somewhere on the internet, somewhere
Yeah.
like that. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was really upset. I was trying to contact the producer. I was hitting them up, trying to see if it was still actually available. He just forgot to make it available. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it was sold or not. There was never like any like mention of that.
Because you were trying to find it. You wrote to the beat. You felt this could be it.
I was really confident about
You were
the
really
song.
confident about it.
So I couldn't find the beat, and the producer never got back to me. I emailed him like 5 times. So then, you know, I kind of forgot about it. So then one night I was, you know, going through the internet, looking on the internet for beats, and because I check a lot of places. I check YouTube, BeatStars. I check all the websites, and you know, I have my own producers that work with me too, but they were busy. So then I stumbled across this beat one night. I think it was in February, and the beat blew me away. And I was actually trying to write brand new verses to that beat, but then something kept telling me, yo, try these verses that you wrote back in November. And the BPM happened to be the same. Like, it worked out so well. And this beat was phenomenal. So then the verses fit, and I knew I had to get Prince Smith on the hook. Me and Prince have known each other for a very long time. We have great chemistry together, and I know he could always bring something to a song that makes it even more incredible. So me and Prince went to the studio, and this hook that he made, it just blew me away. It blew me away, and I knew like the song was special after that day. Like, I knew it was special, but once Prince got on it, I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. This is my reintroduction to the world, because I was already changing my name at the time. I'm telling my story in the first verse, and then I'm basically like in the second verse, I'm talking about going forward and stuff like that. And I contacted the producer, and the producer happened to be from like the Netherlands. Shout out to Sayonara. That's the producer's name. He is phenomenal. And I sent him the song, and he loved it. He loved it. And to have him say that was very special. And, you know, we made the song, and it's out now. And it's one of those songs that I dreamed of making. You know, I've listened to a lot of music
That's a great
growing
feeling.
up. You know what I mean? Like, I've always, you know, growing up, listened to music and just thought like, man, like, how do these artists make these songs? Like, they just sound like so good.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I have one of those.
Yeah.
So like, that producer who never got back to me really missed out.
So you had these lyrics last fall, November of 2021. You found the beat made by Sayonara a few months later. So when it comes to Bryson and your reintroduction into the music industry, did Without Me introduce that idea of Bryson Gamble, or did you already know before starting that song, I want to make something new? Which came first, the song or the name change?
Actually, the song came first, but I was already battling with like the idea of it. It just wasn't official. But once I made the song, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna go. I'm definitely gonna do this now. This has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to change my name, because the name I was going by back then, like, am I able to curse?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Shit was I'm gonna let y'all
Thank
know.
you for asking. You can let it fly.
For like 10 minutes, I've been trying not to curse. So
Nah, you're good.
fuck. So, gosh, I was like stiff the last like 10
Nah,
minutes.
you're good. You're good. I wish you would have asked me before. It's all good. Let it fly.
Thank God. So anyways, yeah. So, man, what was I saying?
You're saying the song Without Me or the name first. And you were mentioning how the song came first, but you were already battling the idea in your head to
Got
make
it.
the name change, but it wasn't official.
Got it. Yeah. So, you know, it's crazy. Like, how small this could sound to somebody who doesn't make music, but to an artist, they would understand is a name can really box you in. I believe so, or at least it made me feel like it was boxing me in, because I don't try to live my life separate. I try to have my music and my life be together, because that's all I talk about is my life. So with the name I was going by at the time, it made me feel like I was only allowed to talk about one thing. And if I talked about anything else, I would be looked as fake. Oh.
Why did you think that, though? I know where you're coming from, where you may feel a name could box you in, but I think also with your artistry, you're allowed to do whatever you please. Why did you feel that your old name would maybe box you in?
Well,
because that may not be the case.
Yeah, so I was going by the name In Pain. I was going by the name In Pain at the time. And I personally felt because it had the name Pain in it, I had to always talk about painful things.
I got you.
Do you know what I mean? But then I look at artists like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Travis Scott, Jack Harlow, Drake. They can talk about whatever they want because there's not an emotion attached to their name. Drake can talk about lovey-dovey stuff and then talk about some hard rap shit the next minute, and no one will question him for it. But with a name like In Pain, you know, like I'm talking about these dark things, but then I'm going up on stage and I'm smiling and all that. There was a disconnect. I believe there was a disconnect, and there were a lot of people who would come up to me and be like, "Why is your name In Pain? You don't seem like you're in pain." Even though like my story was very, like, I went through a lot of pain growing up, but I just didn't want to, like, I don't want to be this very like aggressive, dark rapper anymore. I'm not 15 anymore trying to be Eminem.
Yeah.
Not saying like Eminem is all dark. I love
I
Eminem,
get what you're saying.
but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The name basically came from me.
Sounds like you're also evolving as an individual. So you just wanted the times to reflect it.
Exactly. Like there was like growing up when I like a lot of my raps were about my pain growing up, and I'm still going to talk about those things. And the name was definitely an outlet for me to be able to, like, it was therapy to me, right? But as I've gotten older, I've experienced more life. I realized, dog, you don't got to be so angry all the time. And like, even before I changed my name, I wasn't this angry 15-year-old kid anymore.
Yeah.
And when I started talking about different things, still with my old name, it just didn't feel right. I wasn't able to be on the mic confident. I didn't feel like I was truly being myself.
I got you.
And man, I'm telling you, the shit that like it made me go through psychologically, just like I'm writing verses and I'm thinking, I can't write this. I can't write this. I'm in pain. Or literally like I'm talking to you, right? I'm smiling. In my head, I would be like, you're in pain. You can't smile. Like it was getting toxic, man. It was getting really toxic.
I got you. Let's talk about your writing style. So do you write a lot of stuff down before you go into the studio, or do you like to freestyle and improvise your lyrics?
I love this question because as a fan of music growing up and watching my favorite artists interview, this is what I wanted interviewers to ask. And they never asked.
I love
that
finding out
question.
about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm a songwriter too.
Exactly. So I've done everything, man. I've done everything for a very long. So when I started off rapping, I wrote on a notepad, an actual like notepad.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like
OG
my favorite rap. Even though
kids, do you remember what a pen and pencil paper is?
Bro, I'm telling you, like when I started rapping, the new generation rappers were already coming out using phones, but I was like, I gotta keep it.
I'm not gonna lie, my phone is overloaded right now. I keep it all in my notes app. I write stuff down too, but also when I'm on the fly, I just have to keep it in my notes app. Yeah, all that shit's in there right now.
So for a very long time, I used a notepad because I had to be it's the 90s.
Yeah.
But then as I got a little bit older, I started using my phone because I realized, I can work in the dark and on the fly, and I can make edits very quickly.
Yeah.
Like I can make edits while I'm on the mic. I'm like recording and I'm like, oh, okay,
Especially if you're in a session with other people and it's like you're on the clock. Sometimes you're in a session.
You want to be like a
studio
racing
time is on the
squirrel.
clock. Yeah, it's like you gotta really. It's down to the wire.
And also some booths. Well, I do a lot of my recording at home actually, but when I'm in the booth at like another studio, booths be really dark.
Yeah.
And you can't see your notes.
No, yeah.
And I have terrible handwriting.
It's kind of it's like an extra process just to bring in a notebook or a pad, even though they could be great, you do whatever you want. But it's like if you're like in a booth, yeah, you're in a studio. It's like you got to have your notes down. You got to have it right in front of you. You got to keep moving.
And another thing too, I write very small, so that shit is hard to. And when you have like pads are heavy, man.
Yeah,
So
my handwriting when I'm in a rush writing, mad sloppy.
you get it.
Yeah.
So I used a notepad for a very long time, and then I ended up using my phone, and I just found that was easier. But then after a while, I actually started rapping like kind of like the Lil Wayne, Jay-Z way to go about it, like in my head. Because what I wanted to learn, I needed to, at that time, I wanted to play with flows more. I wanted to play with different pockets and stuff like that. And being able to do that gave me the freedom to try these new flows and cadences and pockets and stuff like that, because that's very important as a rapper. And just music in general, you know, you want to keep switching things. You want to keep the people from checking out. So I really wanted to hone in on flows. I'm really obsessive with flows and cadences. Like, it's like a puzzle, and the idea that I can fit, I have this flow and I can only have a certain amount of like syllables. I love it. I like love it. So then I did that for a very long time. But then, and I still do that sometimes. It depends on what the beat calls for. But now recently I've been combining both of them. I've been doing, you know, freestyle flows, but also like writing on my phone.
Yeah. So as a rapper, how important do you think cadence and flow are?
Sometimes it's the most important thing, because don't get me wrong, a story is very important. And this is just my opinion, you know, like, you know, the beat calls for what you want to do, but sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I think if you don't have flow and cadence, like, because it's all music, right? It's all rhythm, it's all music. Like, yes, the words are important, but you want to make people also like feel the music too. You want to be an instrument.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The voice is an instrument.
Yeah, we are rapping is no different from a snare drum. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it's very important. I believe it's super, super, super important.
When you're working on your music, do you have lyrics finished first, or do beats and production sometimes inspire the lyrics?
I have to listen to the beat first, because because if I write a verse, and trust me, dog, I've done everything.
Yeah.
I've tried. Like you were saying. I went through the boot camp, man.
Yeah,
like,
me as well.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I've done all the wrong things, all the right things, or things that I thought were right, and they ended up being wrong. So I only write when I have a beat. Sometimes though, if I have like a flow in mind, I'll kind of like put the flow in my voice memo, but I won't put lyrics to it.
Me too. Like, I'll just act out a delivery if I have some notes in my head, just so I don't forget it.
Yeah, because and then you know, you can get the tempo of your flow. Like, it's all music, right? So then you can get the tempo and then find a beat, but I won't put words, and I won't really make a song until I have the beat. So really most all my songs, I hear the beat first.
Yeah. So we're both young guys. We're in our early 20s.
Right.
And we've both been making music for a long time. You've been making music for years. And like you said, you've done it all. You've tried different writing styles. I don't know about you. I feel grateful that I tried starting to songwrite. I feel grateful that I tried songwriting young, because I was able to make so many mistakes. Like,
100%.
How do you feel? When did you start writing your own raps, your own songs? How old are you?
Man, these are such great questions. They're so simple questions, but man, I'm telling you, when I watch these rap interviews, it's all about the gossip and shit. Like, I just want to know the creative process and all that. So I appreciate that question. Yeah. So I started rapping. I always knew I wanted to create, right? I always knew I wanted to create. I always knew I wanted, for a very long time, I found that I was always looking for an outlet to express myself, but through creativity. I wanted to tell my story somehow, medium. Whether it be, you know, I used to draw comics. I used to write movie scripts. I used to think I was going to make the new Star Wars script.
Oh, that's sick. You a movie writer too?
I got all my like friends. I'm like, you're going to be Luke. I'm going to be Anakin.
Yeah.
Obviously, it never went through. I'm
Young
10 years
Scorsese.
old. Exactly. So
that's sick.
So I tried writing movie scripts. So
this is elementary school level. This
is like 10 years old.
Oh, 10 years old. Gotcha.
Yeah. But then one day, it's a very long story, but I'm going to share it because, you know, I really, there was a lot of things that went into me starting to rap. So it's a long story, I'm sorry. But I was 10 years old. And then one day I was on a field trip with my best friend, EJ. Shout out to EJ. We were on a school bus coming back from the Bronx Zoo, and he was just rapping this verse. He was just rapping, and I never saw this before. The only music I heard around the house, I actually never heard rap music until that day. I was, my mom used to play like Frank Sinatra or like Carrie Underwood or like Nickelback and I don't know, anything from like the early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
So my friend was like just rapping and I never seen this thing before. And I asked him, yo, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, this is Lil Wayne. And I'm like, who the fuck is Lil Wayne? I didn't say fuck. I didn't feel like I was able to curse. But what drew me to that looking back was he looked so confident doing that. And I think back then I was always...
He was on a run back then too.
Yeah.
That was peak Wayne. Just
2007.
Commercial apex of Wayne.
I will always... 2007 was incredible.
Insane.
Music-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Music-wise. 2000, Lil Wayne, that will forever be a special time in my life. So he told me Lil Wayne. And what drew me to him, my friend Irvin rapping this thing, was he just looked so confident doing it. And I think what drew me to that was, I think I wanted to be confident. I think at 10 years old, I was already insecure. I didn't know how to articulate that, but I just, looking back on it, right?
Yeah.
So then, I went home that night and I found Lil Wayne and I was hooked. I was so hooked. I tried to write my first rap. I called myself Lil B. I said that my rap name was going to be Lil B.
You were going through Napster? Like, how you finding these music back then? We didn't even have Spotify back then. Back in 08, we had to dig through the trenches.
YouTube?
Yeah.
The 240p
I would use
videos.
Napster. I would use Napster and like LimeWire, YouTube. Not really as much LimeWire, but like we were digging.
I used LimeWire once.
YouTube was still big. YouTube was still so new. We're going back to the Wild West here, guys. All right?
Yeah.
You'll learn about it eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so you're going through YouTube, just finding Lil Wayne. So who were your biggest musical influences growing up?
Yeah.
All-time favorites.
Okay, so my musical influences, Eminem, Nas, DMX, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Drake. I mean, I have a new favorite rapper every day, but the core three for a very long time was Eminem, Nas, and DMX.
I got you.
But Lil Wayne, Jay-Z. But like I said, like Lil Wayne has had such a huge impact on me. So I started rapping. So then I tried to write my first rap, right? And it just didn't work out well. So I just gave up and I just got into like WWE like for like a whole year. Yeah. I wanted to be like Matt Hardy, my brother. I have a twin brother, so he wanted to be Jeff Hardy.
Brother?
So we're like, we're gonna be wrestlers. And then I learned that wasn't gonna work out. So then I found the song Forever by Drake. So this is like 2009. Forever came out. And
that was the beginning of Drake.
Incredible.
I remember the best I ever had hearing that on MTV in the morning of summer 2009 on AMTV, their old flagship channel, the old flagship video program they had back then when it was still dwindling down, where there was barely any videos made, and they were playing Best I Ever Had a lot. And I remember like just listening and seeing that video. And now looking back 13 years later, like, wow, that was Drake at the very beginning. Look what it is now.
I remember when Best I Ever Had came out, there was this girl that I had a huge crush on. And every time I heard that song, I was like, I'm going to marry you.
Yo.
We didn't end up marrying each other, obviously.
Yeah. It was one of those songs. Yeah. It was telling that story.
Yeah. So whenever I hear that song, I'm like, damn, I hope she all right.
Brings you back to the middle school crush, like,
yeah.
Damn, how you doing?
Exactly. So then, I heard Forever by Drake, and I heard Eminem's verse. And again, what drew me to that verse was this thing about confidence. And I think for a very long time, I wanted to look for something to make me feel confident because I was so insecure at that time. I had a lot going on. So then I really got into Eminem, and that's when I started rapping. So I was like maybe 13, and I made the decision. I was like, oh, I could actually like do this. I may not be really good right now, but I can write. I'm thinking of rhymes quickly. I was actually better at freestyling before I was writing because I saw the movie 8 Mile and I was like, oh, this kind of seems kind of easy. It's not easy, by the way. Rapping is not easy. It takes years of practice. But to the people who get it right away, you guys are, I'm jealous of y'all.
Yeah.
So then, you know, I just started writing every day and it made me finally feel like, okay, this is something I'm good at.
Yeah.
I think for a very long time, I was looking for something to make me feel like I was good at something.
Yeah.
You know, I was good at things. I was good at basketball. But
You
these
want to
things,
find that one thing.
yeah, my brother for a very long, so my brother's very athletic. I'm athletic too, but the back of my mind, I always knew my brother was better at sports than I was. And I was just, I think growing up with a twin, I was trying to find my own identity because for a very long time, we grew up and everyone knew us as the twins. So I think as me, you know, growing up and stuff like that, I want my own identity. And when I
want to branch out, yeah.
I found rapping and I was just like, this is something I can call mine. I can go to school and even though I failed this test or I didn't score that basket in a basketball game, I know I can go home and write a rap.
Yeah.
It made me feel like everything, bro. It made me feel like I had a place in this world.
Yeah, you could write a song, you could write lyrics, and it's a different outlet.
Exactly. And I thought I still think rapping is such an amazing talent that needs work and stuff like that you need to work on. But to be able to think to myself, oh, I can do something that not a lot of people can do.
Yeah.
It made me feel special.
That's what's exhilarating, yeah. It's hard to do. It's not that easy to do. So you grew up in New York City. You grew up in Harlem.
Yeah.
How did growing up in Harlem impact your artistry, your musical journey, and your career?
So actually, I didn't move to Harlem until I was 12 years old. We lived in the Hell's Kitchen area, but then we got kicked out of the apartment. I'm telling you, 2007, 2008 was crazy.
Yeah. So growing up in New York City in general, how would you feel that growing up here, how has that influenced the music you make now, your creative process in general?
Oh yeah, I'll get to Harlem. So so I lived in Hell's Kitchen until I was 12 years old. And then we got kicked out, and then we found a place in Harlem. And how Harlem shaped me was, I started rapping once I got to Harlem. Like I started officially I said to myself, I am going to become a rapper when I finally moved, like when I was finally in Harlem, right? And Harlem is everything to me, bro. East Harlem to the day I die, bro. Like I'm telling you, like I love this place so much. It's done so much for me. So the reason why I love it so much, East Harlem gave me the confidence and the validation. And I'm trying to think of the actual word.
Yeah.
Basically okay, you can do this.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll tell you a story. So maybe it's like a year or two after I moved to East Harlem and there was this basketball court down the block from my building. And all the kids my age at that time, we hung out there. We called it the Mecca. It's this park and this basketball court. And my brother would play basketball out there. We met a few kids because of basketball playing out there and stuff like that. And there was this, I forgot how it happened, but people heard, I think I told somebody I rapped. It was just like this one night like changed everything. So it was this one night. I think I just happened to tell somebody I rapped. And I'm not knowing they were gonna be like, so rap.
It put you on the spot.
Yeah. And it was that moment where it was just like, hey, if you're gonna do this, you gotta get ready for this. So I ended up rapping and apparently I made a few people pretty like, they liked it. And then it escalated into battle rapping. So then that entire night, I happened to be battle rapping all these people, all these guys in the neighborhood, some of the people who were very popular in the neighborhood and stuff like that. And I was beating these guys. And I was just getting a rush out of the oohs and the ahs and people going crazy. People were screaming. And it just let me know, wow, you can do this. And having some people who are highly respected in the neighborhood just like encouraging me. And, you know, after that day, there was just so much love I got from that place. And it goes back to that thing again where it's like, hey, if you don't think I'm good at rapping, come to East Harlem. Like, at least my block, obviously, like, there are bigger artists in East Harlem, but on my block, my little neighborhood in East Harlem, like, people started to know who I was, and it was a big deal.
And this was in East Harlem when you were around 11 or 12 years old?
No, I was 14, 15 at that point.
Oh, by that point when you were battle rapping with people in the neighborhood, you were 14 or 15?
Yeah.
I got you.
And, you know, I got a thrill out of, like, I would be walking to, like, the store or walking to, like, the subway, and just people stopping me, be like, yo, rap. Or people coming to me and being like, yo, I saw that video of you battle rapping. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And just, like, that validation, man. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, it just gave me that, okay, you can do this. And now it seems like Brian's getting a little bit of respect here.
Yeah.
And mind you, I still wasn't the best rapper at the time, but nobody was, it's at that time, it looked like nobody was getting ready to rap on the spot like I was. Like, I was always on a mission to prove that I can do this.
Yeah.
Because I looked up to a lot of artists from the 90s where, like, you had to prove yourself. Yeah, your song could be good, but if you can't, like, freestyle or, like, spit a crazy verse, like, you're whack.
On the spot.
So I was really influenced by, like, that 90s mindset. I felt like I always looked up to, like, Nas in Queensbridge. I was always used to watch his documentaries, be like, that's gonna be me.
Yeah. So the Without Me music video, that's your debut single that just came out featuring Prince Smith, an artist from Queens. Let's talk about the music video.
Yeah.
So what inspired that music video and how did you guys make it?
So it was directed by my best friend, Lincoln Praise. His name is Nick. He was my producer, but now turned director.
Oh,
This
nice.
was his directing debut alongside our friend Luke. And after I made the song, I sent it to Nick, and he loved it. He thought it was special. He thought it was special, and I was like, yeah, I really want to do. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I was like, I really want to do a video for this. If this is going to be the first song, this has to be the next song I'm going to drop. You know what I mean? Because it was right on the cusp of me changing my name, so I didn't know I was going to just go start from scratch again, right? But I knew it had to be the next song I was going to put out. It just happened to be that it's this reintroduction. So the music video came together because we originally were going to do it with somebody else, but it didn't work out. Scheduling kind of like got messed up. So then our friend Luke said he'd do the video, and we got this spot in Brooklyn. I forgot where it was in Brooklyn, but it just had this whole setup, and Nick and Luke wrote out the whole, like, story of the video. And
Oh, wow. So they did the treatment and everything.
Bro, excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I just had to show up.
Yeah.
I just had to show up and look cool in the camera.
Yeah, that's really cool how it went from, he was your producer, you worked in the past, and then he was also directing your video. So we were even talking about the beat making process. So you were saying you found that beat. It was a producer from the Netherlands, Sayonara.
Shout out Sayonara.
Shout out Sayonara.
And Lincoln Praise.
Did you record the vocals, you and Prince, in a studio, or were you at your home studio?
Man, I love these questions.
Because I want to know too, because
yeah,
you know, the song sounds fire, the production, everything, and we're independent artists.
100%. So
We want to know how it goes down.
So I cut my verses actually in my room.
Okay, you got a home studio.
A Neumann TLM 103.
I got the same mic. I fucking love it.
It's the greatest mic for independent artists, man.
Yeah.
And an
It's
Apollo,
worth it.
an Apollo Twin, and my room is treated. Apollo Twin, the interface, and my room is treated, and I have good enough equipment where the room where I could record the verses. So I recorded my verses first. We took them to my studio. My guy, Shy, my engineer. I love that guy. That man has done so much for me. Shy, shout out Shy when you see this.
What studio?
It's actually like his own studio, where he
nice.
lives and stuff like that. He used to work out of Queens, but now he has like another location and stuff like that.
It's great.
Yeah, but so shout out to Shy. When you see this, man, you've done so much for me and you were still doing things for me. Just had to appreciate him for a second.
Oh, yeah. No
This guy's
worries.
incredible. So anyways, I took the session that I recorded in my room and I brought it to Shy, and Prince laid his hook in his studio, because I could have had Prince come to my studio, but Shy is a much better engineer than I am. My setup is made for my voice and my vocals, my template and all that. But Shy is the more experienced engineer, so we did his hook in Shy's studio.
At a Queens in his own studio, Shy studio.
Yeah, not in Queens, but just like where he's at.
I got you.
Yeah.
That's cool. So it was a mix of both. You did some recording at home, but then also when you brought in Prince, you went to an additional studio, had another engineer on it to bring the whole piece together.
That's actually how a lot of my collaborations happen today.
That's really cool.
I do a lot of things you're going to hear, like that I release. I record sometimes with Shy. It depends on like how I'm feeling. Sometimes I like to switch it up. But a lot of the times I'm recording a lot of my stuff at home because I've learned how to like engineer myself.
Yeah.
And then bring it to Shy and he polishes it up and makes it sound even more professional and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the next part. That's great. So, Bryson Gamble, what is next for you? Do you have music coming out soon after Without Me? Any shows coming up? What is next for you?
So, after Without Me, I think we're probably going to put out another song. We're still trying to figure that out right now. Maybe put out another song, maybe another video. Hopefully this could all lead to a project coming out. As for shows, we're working on that as well. We want everything to be organized. We don't want to we really want it to be smooth and we have like a plan, but we're changing this plan like every day. So nothing is like set in stone.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the thing that's going to happen next is probably another song or video.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, man. I'm really, really excited for everyone to like finally hear this stuff because, you know, I learned a lot rapping growing up and now I'm only going to get better with time too, but I finally feel like I'm making the songs I dreamed of making. And I'm going to say that about other songs I make in the future.
Yeah, but that's the best. That's the best.
Exactly.
Bryson Gamble, where can we find you on social media platforms? Let the audience know all of your social media handles and everything else.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, at Bryson Gamble _.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
Bryson, how do you spell it?
BRYSON Gamble GAMBLE _ I really had to think about those letters.
No, I just want to let them know. Make sure they know where to check you out. Bryson, thank you so much for coming on the show and for sitting down with me. It was really cool to learn about the new song, the story, and everything else in between and behind it all. Thank you guys for checking out another episode.
I want to say one more
Media.
thing.
Yeah, go for
If
it.
that's okay. To anybody who wants to do anything, to anybody who dreams of creating or just are looking for something to do, you can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to. And yeah, you can do anything you put your mind to. Anything can be built. And people who,
Yeah,
sorry.
Keep going. You keep going, 100%, because I agree.
Yeah, to people who want to create something, to people who feel like they want to do something but can't, like you can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to. And for anybody who says you need to give up or they don't believe in you, those people are just projecting their fears onto you. I'm telling you, like, you can do anything. Anything can be built. As long as you put your mind to it and you're really dedicated and love something, you can do anything.
100%. I agree with you 100%. That was a great point, a great way to end the show. You can't be afraid to take risks.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
100%.
Just go for it because you never know where it could lead. And you can build it. Just put in the work.
Yep. Just put in the work.
Bryson, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for checking out another episode of Miltrick Media. I sat down with New York City hip-hop artist and rapper Bryson Gamble. His brand new single, debut single, Without Me featuring Prince Smith is out now. Go check it out on all streaming platforms as well as check him out on social media. And we will see you soon.